Let me raise something else that you're very honest about in the book, that is the Land Acquisition Act. You seem to accept, and I'm quoting you, that it increased the cost of land to financially unsustainable levels and made it easier for anyone wanting to stop a project to use the various consultative processes required under the law to delay matters. Can you today, with hindsight, accept that no matter how laudable the intentions might have been with which this act was enacted, it actually was a terrible mistake?
Well, I agree. And in fact, I took that view inside also, that we should not amend the existing act, which was an 1886 act, and needed to be amended, by the way, because it allowed the government to use its power of acquisition in a wide range of areas where really it should not be used. And the procedures were such that people were being paid very little compensation. So there was a need to raise the compensation. But the way the kind of interaction between NGOs, civil society, and others went, the scale of the compensation was jacked up. We had a meeting, by the way, with industry. And as a result of that, the government did modify its position, giving the states more flexibility. So states that wanted more flexibility could actually exercise it. I think one of the worst things about the act was that it allowed anybody who was interested in stopping a project to raise any number of procedural issues that would stop the project.
And that has happened.
That has happened, and I think that, by the way, that's a reflection of a very fundamental problem which affects us, and I think it reflects the kind of middle-income trap problem. We've become a more complex economy, and one of the fundamental institutions that are needed to run such an economy, which is the whole legal system, is nowhere near what it should be. We're running a system in which you can raise a dispute and it'll take 20 years to resolve. Now that, I think we recognize that, we even said so, but that is a long-term reform agenda, which is very relevant
Except
today.
for the fact that though you recognize it, nonetheless you devised an act that entrapped industrialists within it. And it's bizarre. You recognize the legal system doesn't work, and yet you create an act where industrialists are actually pushed into the web of that legal system, which is why so many of them were so upset with you.
No, by the way, I recognize it, but that's not the same thing as saying...
But you were the brains of the government.
No, while this is charming and very flattering, it's not a correct description. I mean, look, governments at any given time, lots and lots of, you might call them vested interests, or maybe you might call them stakeholders, and they're all sort of participating in the decision-making. I think in that period, the role of civil society in this area, I mean, they gained maybe more traction than was perhaps justified.
Do you mean the NAC? Sonia Gandhi's National Advisory Council?
No, I think people loved bringing in the NAC. It wasn't just the NAC. I mean, after all, the Narmada Bachao Andolan has nothing to do with the NAC. In fact, they wouldn't even touch the NHC with a barge pole. So there was a broader civil society group that actually felt that you need to toughen up these laws.